On today's edition of Early Look, I'm going to be previewing the lightweight main event October 7th as part of UFC Fight Night. Bit of a short notice for both guys. Grant Dawson, Bobby Green. Phenomenal fight in the lightweight division. We're going to break it all down. And if you've never watched a show before, I'm going to go through a bunch of different stats, a bunch of different intangibles, and then I'll give you my pick at the end. Some of this stuff may have relevance. It may not. I'll let you decide that at the end. But I go like looking at every little angle when it comes to breaking down fights. Let's do a quick tail of the tape between these two. We got Grant Dawson, Bobby Green. Grant 21-1, Bobby Green 30-14-1. So big experience gap there. 29-37, 5'10" apiece, 72-inch reach to 71. So Dawson gonna have a slight reach advantage in this fight, and age-wise, obviously a lot younger. Let's start first with Grant Dawson, the Contender Series winner, as we look at everything there. So I mentioned it there. He's 29 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. First 5-round fight for Grant Dawson. Had the luxury of speaking to Grant before this fight. You can find that interview on my UFC interviews playlist. Again, a bit of a short notice, but Grant not really worried about the 5 rounds, and sort of excited to very excited to get an opportunity fighting a vet like Bobby Green. You can see he is the number 10 ranked lightweight. He's a BJJ black belt. He trains out of American Top Team. He's got performance of the night 2 times against Mike Trezano and Leo Santos. Dawson made his amateur debut way back in June of 2012. By that time, Bobby Green already had 23 pro fights by the time Dawson made his amateur debut. So that's the age gap there I was talking about. Made his MMA debut, his professional debut back in August of 2014. Green already had 4 UFC fights by that point. And then obviously won on Contender Series back in 2017. And by that time, Bobby Green had 10 UFC fights by the time that Dawson made his UFC debut. Made the debut in 2019. Won a Contender Series in 2017. UFC debut in March of 2019, and that was, again, Green had already had 10 UFC fights. Dawson is 9-0-1. He's got 5 finishes, some notable wins for Grant Dawson. I put Mike Trezano on here just because Trezano was an Ultimate Fighter winner and undefeated at the time. That was a nice and impressive stoppage victory there. He also got a win over Mark Madsen, who was 12-0 at the time. Dawson did miss weight for that fight. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but still, Madsen undefeated, good win there. And then obviously his last fight, that was really the win that got him this main event, the Demiris Magulov fight. He absolutely dominated that fight, and that was a statement win in my opinion, and that's why he's getting an opportunity like this on October 7th. Dawson does not have any losses, although he did have a draw with Ricky Glenn, which was razor close there, and I believe that was the last fight he had at Glory, and then it was after that he moved to American Top Team and trained over there, and it's looked a lot better, let's be honest here. Now, Grant has had some issues with USADA, so I mentioned there that there was the win on Contender Series in 2017, didn't make his debut till 2019, and then he was supposed to fight Chaz Skelly in 2020, and there was a USADA issue there. So again, just read up on it. I mean, Grant, again, he was never it's not something that's happened since then. I've known Grant for a while. My understanding was there was some issue with some supplement he was taking, but we'll have to sort of see what happens. I'll let you be the judge of the USADA stuff or whatever. But yeah, it was unfortunate. It kind of slowed his career down a bit because he wasn't able to fight as much with all these issues he was having with USADA. Now, Grant Dawson, another issue that he's had in his career and has also slowed down his career is the weight misses. So Grant's fought 12 times at lightweight. He's fought 5 times at featherweight, and he's had 4 catchweights. 2 of those catchweights were supposed to be at featherweight. One of them he came in at 149. Another one he came in at 149.5. And then he's had 3 misses at featherweight, 149, 149.5, and 150, and then also missed at lightweight against Mark Madsen, came in at 157, so that was not a good look. Do keep in mind this is a little bit short notice. Grant assures me he's going to make weight. He's had a new weight cut guy he worked with the last time around, made weight against this Magulov. You can see they're coming in at 156, so hopefully no issues there as he's stepping onto the scale. I mentioned Dawson's layoff. Going from Adrian Diaz to Julian Erosa, there was a 571-day layoff. And then going from Trezano to Miller, same thing. He had the issue with Skelly, USADA related. There was a 287-day layoff. But since then, he's been pretty active. Since 2020, Dawson has fought, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. That's pretty good, if you ask me. Now, in terms of close fights, he hasn't really had any. He's had a couple decision wins, but none of them were controversial. If we jump to the stats right now and we look at Grant Dawson's stats, pretty impressive here. Significant strikes landed per minute is 2.99. His striking accuracy is at 51%. His striking defense is at 46. He does get hit a little bit. His average takedowns per 15 minutes, 3.70. That's a good number. His takedown accuracy is only 36% though, but his takedown defense is also 40%. So he does get taken down a bit, but his sub average is 1.5. In fact, most of Grant's wins have been by submission. I don't know if I mentioned that off the top, but he's got 4 knockouts, 13 submissions, and 3 decisions in 23 career fights. So yeah, that's pretty much everything with Grant Dawson. Huge opportunity here for him to move up the rankings as he takes on the veteran Bobby Green. Let's talk about his opponent here, King Bobby Green. Both have the same management, by the way, so I'm sure the negotiations for this were fairly easy. You can see there 30, 14, and 1. Green's got 10 knockouts, 9 submissions, and 11 decisions. He's 37 years old. He's 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. So actually, Grant's how much younger is Grant? I forgot to do my math here. Grant's 8 years younger with a 1-inch reach advantage. Bobby Green has no physical advantages in this fight in terms of height and reach and all that. Green is not ranked. He was ranked. He's a BJJ purple belt and trains at a Pinnacle MMA. Green has submission of the night 1 time, performance of the night 2 times against Al Iaquinta and Tony Ferguson. He's got fight of the night 4 times against Lando Venata 2 times, Rafael Fiziev, Drew Dober. He's also got the most significant strikes in UFC lightweight division history at 1,637. He's also got the most total strikes landed in UFC lightweight division history at 1,863. Check this out. Green did not have an amateur debut, made his pro debut way back in January of 2008, made his UFC debut in February of 2013, of course, coming over from Strikeforce. I think people forget he's a Strikeforce vet. Some notable wins in Green's career. He's fought a lot, but not many notable wins. One I will give him was the Josh Thompson win. Most people watching this probably know Josh Thompson as, being the host of, the show The Weigh-In and all that, but he was a pretty good UFC fighter, actually. He was very good, and this was a big win at the time for Green. I still think it's the biggest win he's had. It was a split decision. We'll talk about the scorecards on that a little bit later, but that's, I think, the biggest win of his career. Al Iaquinta was also a good win then as well, knocking out Al, finishing him in the first round. You got to count that one just because, again, it's tough to take Al out like that. I thought that was impressive. And then Tony Ferguson, just notable because he's Tony Ferguson, but not a lot of ranked wins in here. Now his losses, he's fought the who's who. You can't really fault Green for some of the guys that he's fought. Look at this: Edson Barbosa, Dustin Poirier, Drakkar Klose. I don't know if he was ranked then, but still decent. Thiago Moises, we'll talk about that decision. Fiziev, Makhachev, Drew Dober. So yeah, kind of the run-of-the-mill, tough guys in that weight class. Grant Dawson, Bobby Green's fought in multiple weight classes. He's fought 39 times at lightweight. He's had 3 catchweight fights. He also fought at junior welterweight and King of the Cage, which if you go look that up, it's a bit of a different weight class. And he's fought 2 times at welterweight. He's had a bunch of layoffs. That's one of the things that, again, is not maybe got Green to where he's wanted to go. So going from Edson Barbosa to Dustin Poirier, there was a 560-day layoff in between fights. Going from Poirier to Rashid Magomedov, there's a 315-day layoff. And going from Drakkar Klose to Francisco Trinaldo, there's been a 336-day layoff. But since 2019, kind of like Dawson, he's been very active. He's had a whole bunch of injuries. I will quickly go through these. Not going to go through fight by fight. Supposed to fight Danny Castillo at UFC on Fox 8 in July of 2013. He had a hand injury. Supposed to fight Abel Trujillo at UFC 169 in February of 2014. Had an injury. Supposed to fight Jim Miller at UFC 172 in April of 2014. Had an injury. Supposed to fight Jorge Masvidal. Too bad we never got that fight. UFC Fight Night 63, April of 2015. He had a torn quad. Supposed to fight Al Iaquinta the first time in July of 2015 at UFC Fight Night 71. He tore his ACL. Supposed to fight Beneil Dariush at UFC 222 in March of 2018, had an injury there. Clay Guida, UFC 225, June of 2018, had an injury there. Supposed to fight Jim Miller in February of 2021, had a weight cut issue, no injury there. And then was supposed to fight Miller at UFC 276 in July of last year, had a failed drug test. So both of these guys having some USADA issues. I mentioned close fights. Green, he's been really unlucky here. Let's talk about some of these close decisions he's had. And you can see the media scorecards on MMADecisions.com. The Green win over Josh Thompson, I mentioned that's the biggest win he has had in his career. UFC on Fox 12, July of 2014. 6 media members scored the fight for Green, 4 scored it a draw, and 5 scored it for Thompson. So again, that fight could have gone the other way potentially. Whoops, as I don't have the win here. It's right there, 2014. The Trinaldo loss he had, this was in, Lando Venata. Let's talk about that one. He had a draw with him. UFC 216, October of 2017. 4 media members scored the fight for Venata. 7 scored it a draw, and 2 scored it for Green. So that was probably the right call there. Drakkar Klose, supposed to fight him, or did fight him. UFC on Fox 31, December 2018. 3 media members scored the fight for Klose. 12 scored it for Green. So again, that probably should have gone Green's way against Drakkar Klose. Same thing with Francisco Trinaldo. 5 media members scored the fight for Trinaldo. 10 scored it for Green. Thiago Moises, same thing. 4 media members scored the fight for Moises, 11 scored it for Green. So again, his record could be a little bit better here if some of those decisions went the right way. Let's look at the stats for Bobby Green. You can see there the striking strikes landed per minute is very high, 6.14. That's one of the highest I've seen. Striking accuracy 52%, striking defense 62%. Takedown accuracy is 37%, so it doesn't get a lot of takedowns. Takedown defense is 74%. That'll be interesting in this fight with Dawson's improved wrestling, and his takedown average is 1.21. Let's look at the odds. Bobby Green. We only have DraftKings right now having odds for this. Grant Dawson almost 3-1 favorite. Bobby Green almost plus 300 here. Tapology is a different story. And granted, this hasn't been up for that long, so maybe they need to get more votes. But look at this, 92% of people picking Dawson, 8 picking Green. I think that's a little crazy, but I do expect Dawson to win. So how do I think Dawson wins? Not to bring any more spoils here. I think he wins by 4th round submission, and here's why. 65% of Dawson's wins, as you can see here, are by submission. 20% are by KO, TKO. He's not much of a power puncher. And Green, I think his durability has gone down a little bit. We saw that in the Drew Dober fight, but I don't think Grant will knock him out. If he does, it may be later, but I see submission more likely. I could see a situation where Dawson maybe hits him to the, gives him a good shot. He kind of wobbles and then Dawson gets the submission. I could see that happening. Dawson's only got 15% of his wins by decision. It's a 5-round fight. I don't think it'll go all 5 rounds if I'm being honest here. Now on the flip side with Green, 14% of his losses are by submission, 56 are by decision. But again, that durability I think has gone down a little bit with the fact he's getting older and he's taken a lot of damage. And I mentioned the injuries and the layoffs, like all that adds up. So even though most of his losses are by decision, I think we're at the point now where we could see Bobby Green get finished a little bit more. Also, I'll say it, for the record, I don't think Green looked that good against Tony Ferguson. He got the win, but didn't look like the old Bobby Green in that one. Even the Jared Gordon, no contest, the headbutt, I didn't think he looked great leading up to that. And then he got knocked out by Drew Dober. Before that, we can forget about the Islam fight. Islam's beaten everyone. But yeah, I don't really know what we're getting with Green right now. And I think we're seeing a big decline here. So I would say, my official pick is going to be Grant Dawson by submission in the 4th round. Would not shock me if Dawson also went the decision. I don't see him knocking him out, but Grant's younger. I think the couple things you got to keep an eye on in this fight. Let's see if Grant makes weight. See how Grant looks. It's his first 5-round fight. Bobby Green's got, a little bit more experience in that area in terms of having more fights and being in the cage longer. So we'll see if the cardio holds up for Bobby Green. Again, that was one of the successes that he had in the Fizzy fight was having a strong 3rd round in that one. So we'll see how it goes. But I just think Dawson's the future. I think this is perfect matchmaking here. You got a vet who's looking to still prove that he belongs in the rankings. And you got a guy in Dawson who's coming off a statement win in his last fight over Demir. Can he continue that against a pretty durable veteran in Bobby Green? So my official pick is going to be Grant Dawson, 4th round submission. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who are you picking here and how do you think they get it done? Well, let's put it this way. Dawson's going to be the favorite. Is anyone here picking Bobby Green? And if you are, how do you see him winning this fight? Would love to hear from you in the comments. Let's debate this. Let's have some fun with this. And if there's any other notable fights you want me to preview that are coming up, let me know in the comments. Always happy to hear your feedback. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. I'm James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.